There we go, testing the audio. We got it up. And welcome to the stream, everybody. If there is anybody. This is kind of a spur of the moment kind of deal. I thought about it last night and I decided to go ahead and do it today because I'm still working on these SS troops. So I figured, why not get on camera and just kind of, excuse me, why not get on camera and kind of just shoot the you know what. All right, so I'm locking my cameras in place. There we go. All right, so hello again, everybody. This is Derek. I'm coming at you with another Wargaming in Miniature live stream. This is our Wargaming Weekly. This is actually our second video this week. These are in the way, obviously. I put them here to be specifically in the way. Let me move them. I got a couple of things planned today. Nothing too exciting. I plan to finish basing these guys, the ones that are actually on Flames of War bases. I plan to flock them with static grass and clump foliage. We'll get those guys all taken care of. And these guys here on the popsicle sticks are all part of a commission. And that commission, I'm just going to put them off to the side and put them out of the way because I'm not going to be doing any additional work on those. I did just finish using Ultra Matte on everything, and what I have my own I have my own mixture of AK Ultra Matte. You can see it's a half a bottle of that. It's actually 1/3 bottle because that's 60. I don't know why I'm yelling. That's 60 milliliters, where that's 200 milliliters. So 3 of those would be what, 180? So, but either way, so what I'm doing is, it's kind of reverse. You would think I'd be putting more of this in my mixture, but what I did today for this group is I did 3 to 1. So I did, I put like 30 drops in this palette spot right there. And then I put 10 drops of this in there to, not to thin it out, but to stretch it out, to extend its coverage, or its, because I think the Ultramat is good, but I have it makes me feel like it causes the paint to crack a little bit. Where the Vallejo matte varnish is not as flat as that, but it preserves the model's paint job. So I mix this with this and I get a very flat look, and it protects the models. So it's just my own personal belief, my own personal hang up. Okay, I've got some coffee today. What the hell? I must be American. Okay, so I've got a little bit of a dilemma. I've been working on it all morning. In my mind. In my puny pea brain, I've been working. I'm kind of moving this mic out of the way because I feel like I'm yelling at the microphone. I don't mean to be. Everything here is finished except for the basing, right? So let me go ahead and grab these. Now, I do want to make a video where I show off the finished paint job of these Grenadiers, these SS Grenadiers. Yeah, so there's an infantry platoon and an anti-tank platoon was sent to me as a commission. And that's where all the crew members and the infantry are. And then there's the guns, and they won't fit in there without causing a little bit of grief. Will this go this way? It will not. Okay. 2 trays it is then. Just to get them out of the way. Just to get them out of the way. Okay, so I've got this camera right here, right? That's where the camera's at. It's showing these figures right here. But I'm going to want to, at some point during today's live stream, I'm going to want to get on my computer and I'm going to disable this camera so you're not going to see the table, but you will see my center monitor. I'm going to be pulling up a spreadsheet where you can see where my dilemma is. I want to talk a little bit about army lists and basing numbers of figures and stuff like that for Battlegroup. Battlegroup is the game I play, not Flames of War. So even though these look like Flames of War miniatures, they're actually for Battlegroup. I would say that the majority, if not all of these figures, there's a handful in there, but the majority of these are actually Plastic Soldier Company. This is Plastic Soldier Company Grenadiers. This sniper team, the the guns here, the 50 cal and the 75. I always call it a 50 cal. I don't know why, but it's a 50 millimeter and the 75 millimeter. The guns are actual Flames of War. But I'm sure that some of these figures, like this Radio Man and that Commander, is definitely Flames of War. And then these mortars here are Forged in Battle. So I've got Forged in Battle, Flames of War, and Plastic Soldier Company all on the table right there. I still have this desire, and I might do it today, to add an antenna to any of these radiomen, so there'd be like a little antenna sticking up, so it'll be obvious that that's an artillery spotter or a communications officer, and not just some infantry team or whatever. Okay. Yeah, I can use this. That'll be fine. Okay, so what I want to do now is kind of put these in a tray, preparing them for blocking. So how do I want to do this? I think I got 3 trays. I'm going to go this is not any kind of organization. I'm just being anal about it. Okay, so there's the 3 anti-tank guns, right? The 75 250s. I also have a couple of loader teams that I made. And I have a couple I got a sniper here and a 2 mortars. Let's go ahead and put the mortars in here too. Okay, that's one of my boxes. And then another box is going to be, let's see if I can kind of put an infantry platoon in there. 1 squad, 2 squads. 3 squads. A 6-figure command element. That is a standard Battlegroup German infantry, SS infantry platoon, and we're going to talk about that in a moment because that's part of the whole basing thing that I am struggling with right now. Okay, so there's 1 squad, 2 squads, 3 squads, a 6-man command element. Okay, so we've got 2 Panzerschrecks. These are support elements that you can buy for each platoon. So and you're allowed to buy, I believe it's 4 support elements per platoon. One of them is the 50 anti-tank gun, which is in there. One is a Panzerschreck, which I put 1 each in there. One is a medium machine gun, so that would be our 3rd support element. And I think a mortar is the other support element, right? And then this 3-man figure is a company commander. It's actually, they actually in Battlegroup, they call it a forward commander, a forward command team, or FHQ, forward headquarters, right? And it's a 3-man team. And so that's that one right there. And then this guy is an FO. It's a 2-man FO team right there. All right. So I just wanted to make a selection. I've got a ton of other figures up there primed and ready to go for Battlegroup. Not painted, but primed and ready to be painted. But I'm going to hold off on really working on my Germans right now because I've got quite a bit. I've got 3 Luftwaffe Grenadier platoons, and I've got these 2 SS platoons. Whew. Okay, and so this is probably one of my favorite flocking colors and materials of all time. Yes, it's static grass, so it sticks on your finger, and I don't use a static grass applicator. It's just too complicated to use something like that on a figure stand like this. There's no real need to do a static grass application on that. That's just ludicrous. Okay, so we're going to make a little mixture of Elmer's and water. It doesn't have to be a whole lot of Elmer's or water. I used to do like a 50-50, and I don't really care. It doesn't really matter. I just use water to kind of thin it out a little bit, make it easier to go on the base, and to stretch out the Elmer's. Okay, I'm switching to my magnifying glasses. This is to help me base or to see the figures as I go. I wanted a fourth tray, right? And I had to do this freaking anti-tank gun. Okay. Another thing, I used Vallejo flat earth on these base, and you can tell it's not much of a tonal difference from the spray primer that I used. Right? You don't see. Here we go. You can see maybe a little bit of an edge difference compared to the top, but it's not much of a difference. But I did use the earth tone in there. There we go. Now I've got this guy here. This guy there. There we go. So these boxes on the left and right, I probably could put one on the end as well. Help with, doesn't eliminate, but it helps with the extra drift of static grass. And it catches that. Yeah. Water and glue mix. I'm gonna mix it up a little bit. I use a I used a toothpick way back in my Napoleon Battles days, back in the 90s. But then recently, probably within the last 5 years, I've switched to a brush application. You get more glue on a brush than you do on a, not a popsicle stick. Did I say popsicle stick? On a toothpick. So the toothpick can get down in between like a lot of different cracks and crevices and stuff. But so can a paintbrush. Okay. And you might notice I didn't cover 100% of the base. Okay. I think this magnifying glass is probably too much magnification. So I'm going to my secondary magnification. Oh yeah, much better. Now I can see what I'm doing at a little bit further distance. Oh yeah, that looks banging. Okay. So it doesn't matter which tray they go in or anything. I was just being anal about separating them. Okay, so now a lot of these, because they're plastic soldier company, their round bases don't fit or they don't line up perfectly with the Flames of War holes, but they're close enough. You can kind of see they're close enough, and a little bit of glue overlap onto the figure base and onto the multi base, and with that flock, that circle is just going to disappear. Right? You just won't see it, completely hidden. And I like to drop from a little bit of an altitude, maybe 6 inches, so that as the flock falls, it kind of falls like snow and gets a good spread. It's not landing in clumps. Even though if it does land in clumps, it's okay because I'm about to add some clump foliage to it anyway, so. Okay, sorry for the silence as I progress. And also, I'm kind of sorry that my camera might or might not be in a position where you can see what I'm doing. And I do like grass more than dirt. I don't know, it's just something weird about me, I guess. I don't know. And so on my bases, I tend to over glue. So there tends to be more like a 2/3 grass to dirt ratio. But I think it winds up looking good. I mean, why bother with grass if you're not going to grass them? Plus, I think the grass really makes the figures look more animated. I don't know, it makes it look more rural. So I'm going to talk about my dilemma, even though I don't have any reference on the screen for you to see. And we're gonna break into it in a little bit, but I've been concentrating on building up my Americans, and so I have like a lot of American paratroopers, and and British paratroopers actually. I got some British paratroopers too, but we're doing Canada's Crucible as a campaign. It's not going to start right away, and everyone's invited. Everyone's allowed to participate, even if you're not in Tennessee. You can participate over the internet with us. More to come on that in the future, but we're doing Canada's Crucible, which is a 4-day campaign, or you could even say like a 12-turn campaign, because each turn is like 1/3 of a day. But it's the SS against Canada, obviously. A Canadian Infantry Division. It's kind of it's a strategic map-based campaign, but it's also point-driven. So it's kind of like you build forces, and then once they're built, then you move them around the map and make contact with your opponent, and then whatever units actually make contact with the opponent is where the battles are, etc., etc. Okay, well that's not the problem. That's actually kind of exciting. The problem is, or my dilemma is, I don't have any British. I don't have any British infantry. And or you could call them Commonwealth, British Commonwealth. I don't have any of those. So I did order some because I ordered these before we made a decision to do this campaign, actually. I ordered them because there's a lot of scenarios that I'm building armies for in my books that require infantry, British infantry, right? So, so I ordered some, but they're not assembled or primed or painted or anything. So basically, I'm just waiting for this British infantry to arrive so that I could jump on them. And I mentioned that I've already got basically 5 German platoons finished and ready to go, ready to play, if you count these SS. And because I can use a regular, I can use a Luftwaffe Grenadier platoon and just call it SS because it's got the same organization. It's got the numbers of men and the weapons they're carrying is exactly the same. The SS might just have a fanatical ability, a fanatical special ability that the Luftwaffe division doesn't have, and some support elements that you could add might be different. You know, like what kind of artillery you have and what kind of tanks are added to your division, your battle group might be different. But the infantry platoons, the 8 men, 1 machine gun, etc., is exactly the same. So I could just use those. I can just use those infantry platoons as SS, so that won't be a problem. They won't be in PDOT or anything. They'll be in some other kind. I don't remember what kind of camouflage I painted them. Oak leaf, I think. Somebody just pulled up. I bet you my wife is back. She's doing some dog sitting for one of her friends because they went on a trip. Hey.
Some stuff I'm gonna pick.
Yeah. Well, I figured.
I got a book to read, but I need something else.
Oh, yeah. The dogs aren't enough? Oh.
Everything.
Oh.
Apples rotten. I've already watched the Survivor and Farmer's Wife.
Oh, okay. Those were on last night?
Yeah.
Okay. Was the farmer's wife the finale?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we've been kind of watching the farmer's wife. It's a it's kind of like Bachelorette or The Bachelor. There's 4 farmers, and each farmer had 5 women apply to date them. And so they meet on the farmers' farms, and the farmer puts them through daily chores and tasks that these women would have to do on a farm to see which ones would be suitable for farm life, you know, and one of them is actually in Tennessee, so that's pretty cool. Learn a little bit about how shy these farmers are, why they would need to go to a show like this to get a wife. I don't think I did a sufficient enough drop. So what I'm doing now is I'm pressing in on the static to kind of push it down into the glue. And then when I shake off the excess, the only thing left behind should be the stuff that ripped by the glue. Oh yeah, that's much better. But that's still not 100% because once the glue dries, I'll still go over it with a brush and knock off all the loose grass. Okay, so where were we? I have no British, which is a lie. I actually have a bunch of British paratrooper stuff. But the Canadian Infantry Division is not a paratrooper division, so it's all useless. So I ordered 2 companies of British infantry. Each company should have at least 2 to 3 platoons worth, and that should be a good start for the Canada's Crucible. That should be no problem. But there's the one scenario that I was talking about that I needed British troops for anyway. It actually has 3 companies of British troops. It's just it's a ridiculously large scenario. I'm not trying to get there anytime soon. That's probably the last scenario that I'm going to complete. But here's my dilemma. I keep kind of like skirting the issue. Not having the British is not a dilemma. I can wait. I can wait for the British infantry. That's no problem. But what am I going to do between now and then, right? I don't want to do more Germans. I don't want to spend time doing Americans like tanks or armored cars or artillery or anti-tank guns or anything like that, because they're not used in Canada's Crucible. But I do have a couple of things that are British. Like, I have a Vickers machine gun group. And I also have a 6-pound artillery, 6-pound anti-tank guns, and some Canadian trucks, and some Bofors, right? The Bofors anti-aircraft guns. Oh yeah, oh, I take it back. And I've got some carriers, the Bren gun carriers. So I was thinking, and okay, one more thing. I have U.S. half tracks, right? I've got half tracks that I was going to use for my American armored infantry platoons. But the British use half tracks as well. There's a difference between an M3 and an M5, but it's so subtle that I'm thinking about just making the American half tracks and just painting a couple of them like British. And so that's no problem. I could put carriers together. And these and now remember, I'm doing Canada's Crucible, which is a few days after D-Day. So this would be Northwest Europe paint scheme and not the desert, right? But I'm not, I have, the carriers come in a box of 9. I don't think I need 9. I think I need like 3. So I could paint some of them in the desert and then some of them in the Northwest Europe, right? And then keep the 3 that I need and then sell the other ones, right? Because I'm not planning on doing the desert anytime soon. But I know a lot of people like that, and there's a lot of people that want that, 8th Army paint scheme. The half tracks, I've got like, right now I currently have like 10, 10 half tracks. And I don't need that many American half tracks, and I don't need that many British half tracks. So I could just paint some of them as American, use them in my American armored platoons, and then paint some as British and use those in my British armored platoons, and there won't be a problem. So I'm definitely going to be using American half tracks as British. It's just going to be a paint job. That's and decals and stuff like that are the only thing that's gonna really be the difference. And then when I get the infantry, then when I paint them, they'll already have their half tracks ready to go. So I could do that, and that's really what I'm leaning on. I'm leaning on that right there, is putting together the half tracks. For the Canadians and the Americans. And then if in the campaign, because the campaign is not written in stone. It's not like this. It's not like a scenario that has troops already laid out. This is the players, or me as a referee, can decide what the forces look like on each side. And I might need more than just a few half tracks. I might need you know, I might need more than I might need more than 3 carriers. Because carriers can also be tows for anti-tank guns and stuff like that. So I might keep all of them. You know, I don't know. That's still not my dilemma. This is all just things I'm thinking about. That's like no real issue. But my dilemma is, even if I get them assembled, like in the next day or two, because that's how long it takes me to put a company's worth of vehicles together, is about a day or two. So once I get them all put together, I can't paint them. But that's also not true. I British armor. Okay, here's a little history lesson. British armor went through a transition of which colors they used at different periods of the war, as you probably would suspect, like the desert and all that stuff. But then they went to Italy, and then they went to Northwest Europe. And every one of those has a different color as the base color, which is not Russian green, Russian uniform. I see all these people out there using Russian uniform because it's close enough, which it is. It's very close. But that's not me. I don't paint something that's half-ass. I don't use Russian uniform because it's close. I want the correct color. And the correct color is olive drab number 15. Just so you know, as a history lesson. It actually has another designation. I want to say OSS, but I know that's not right. Maybe it's CSS, OCS, something, number 15. And it's called olive drab number 15, OSS, which I think means, it's not OSS, but it's something like the official color scheme, like OCS maybe? Official color scheme number 15. And I looked at it, and it is not Russian green, Russian uniform. It is more of a, I want to say kind of like a blue green, like if you could imagine an olive drab with a little bit of blue thrown in. That's the color. And I found that color online. I was like, whoa, they actually have the olive drab number 15, which I think that the British adopted for all of their armored vehicles in April of 1944. And so every armored vehicle that I'm going to be fielding for the British is going to have that base coat. Now, as a highlight, I might use like Russian uniform to bring out the edges, you know, bring out the details and stuff. So just last night, I put an order in for that olive number 15. And I expect that to take a couple of weeks before I see it. It's coming from Atlanta, so when it ships, it only takes like 2 days to get here. But it's the whole when it ships idea. It's coming from a company that I use a lot. But so what that means is, if I build these half tracks, or if I build the carriers, or anything that is supposed to have that color, I can't do anything with them anyway. They're just going to be sitting there, waiting to be primed, which is not a bad thing. I mean, I could go through all my models and just assemble them and get them ready for priming. But psychologically, I don't like having work on my shelf that's half done, because it I don't know if it's psychological. It makes me feel like I haven't accomplished anything, or it makes me feel like I've got work waiting for me. And I read something when I was painting Napoleonics when we were in Berlin in the 90s. Avalon Hill had a how to paint your Napoleonic army in a general magazine. I don't know if you remember the general. And the guy wrote in this article exactly what I was feeling. And so it made me feel like, okay, this is not an uncommon issue. He said that he only paints one unit at a time because if he starts a unit and he works on it for a day and then he puts it down, he won't be able to pick it back up because he remembered how long it was to paint a unit, and it's demoralizing. And I'm kind of the same way. That's why if you watched other streams where I painted battalions of 28mm, I have a specific number of figures that I don't want to exceed. I think it's 4 battalions. Because if I paint more than 4 battalions, I won't be able to finish them. They have to do them in lots or small patches or batches. Batches, yeah, that's the word. So when I get a commission from someone that says, hey, I need you to paint this large army, I dread that. But on the other hand, I know I'm getting paid for it, so I force my way through it, you know. And when it comes to these 15mm guys, World War II, P dot camouflage, I think I bit off more than I can chew. In this batch. What made me get through this was the fact that I had that.
I'm leaving.
Oh, you're back? Okay. I wonder what she took to do. Probably sewing. She does a lot of sewing, so that's probably what she took. I didn't really look. She had a bag. I try not to pry. None of my business. That might come off as not being interested. Guess what? Sorry. But no, this batch, he wanted me to paint Grenadiers, a platoon, and anti-tank platoon, which I thought to myself, oh, this would be a good time for me to throw a couple more platoons in there and paint them all at the same time. Kind of not realizing I'm violating my cardinal rule, which is don't do too many figures at one time. And I'll be honest, it's taken almost 3 weeks to do this, and it should have only taken me 3 days to do his commission. But just by tripling the figure count, it's caused the time to go up by not triple, but like times 9, not times. I want to say times 6, but it's probably times 9. What's saving me a little bit is, and it's not real. Let me rephrase that. It's not saving me any time at all. He doesn't want me to base his figures. He's going to base them when he gets them back. Because I was willing to glue them on his Flames of War bases and putty them and flock them and do all that. But he said, nope, he wants to do that himself. And I'm like, I can respect you. So, because he's probably not playing Battlegroup, right? He might be playing Flames of War. He might be playing some other game that like Spearhead or something else, that Command Decision or something that has his own basing scheme that he wants to use. Yeah, I used to play Command Decision in 1/72nd, right? That's kind of what it was designed for, was 1/72nd. I had a bunch of 176, 1/72nd, HO. I even had some HO armor, like from Roco, if you remember that company. Yeah, I had a bunch of 1/72nd scale stuff, but it did not compare. It could not compare to 15mm. Because once I switched to 15mm, just the storage space alone allowed me to get massive armies. My 1/72nd scale figures, 20 millimeter, if you will. One platoon would be the same size as this. This is a command decision platoon, 2 figures on a stand like that, about that size. And it's about that size for 72nd scale figures. I probably had hundreds of stands, but with only 2 figures per stand, it really wasn't that many models. And being 172nd, Aerofix, Revell, Italeri, that kind of stuff, it was cheap. You get like 50 figures for like $5. So, but at the time, I wasn't really a collector. I was a, let me get the proper figures for the proper scenario, and that's it. I didn't get stuff I didn't need, you know, that kind of stuff. Today I'll get a model because it looks cool. I'll be like, "Ooh, that looks cool. I want to get that." Oh, I never had one of those models. Oh, let me have that, right? Back then, nah, it wasn't all about that. And part of the reason, I had nowhere to store it. I had a Coke box, you know, like a case of Coke, 24 cans or whatever. Those boxes with tanks in them, right? Just loosely stuffed in there. And I was careful, and I would put them in there nice and gently, and you know try to be very, because I painted them and built them, because a lot of them were model kits. You had actual model kits that you had to go through and actually build with all the little bogey wheels and stuff, and that was another pain in the ass. But I would probably have maybe 30 tanks in a Coke box. And that when I went to 15 millimeter, I easily put like 60 or more in a box that size, easily. And I I would grab like Old Glory. That was the 15 millimeter of choice at the time, and I would grab a bag of Panzer IVs. I would get 3 Panzer IVs for the cost of 1 plastic model kit and 1/72nd. So first of all, I'm like, okay, this is awesome. They're a little bit smaller, which you lose a little detail when you shrink your model kit size, right? And then when you go to metal, you lose a little bit more detail. So I'm like, okay, they're not as small as micro armor, so you can still have some detail, but they're not as big as 1/72nd, so you lose some detail. But I was willing to sacrifice the detail for the quantity and the compactness of the models, right? Which also translated to the tabletop. So a 15 millimeter battalion at playing spearhead or command decision was only going to take up about 12 inches, right? A 12-inch circle would be a battalion in one of those games. And where if I played in 1/72nd, it would probably take up about 18 inches. Not much bigger actually, honestly, but it still was bigger. And we were playing on very small tables. We were playing on dinner tables. Because remember, I'm in the army, and I'm when we were playing Command Decision. This is we're in the army. I'm in Berlin. I'm in married housing, and we had a dinner table, and that was it. We did, I didn't have like a game room or anything. It was very. We were in like an apartment, and so space was at a premium. And we played with 172nd while I was in Berlin. But then I got Command Decision miniatures in 15mm from Old Glory when I came back to the States, and it was like night and day. Size, the quality, and everything. But I still wasn't that impressed with the Old Glory models because I don't know, the quality was it was okay, and I accepted them as good quality because they were at the time. But then when I started exploring with Flames of War models in 15mm, my expectations jumped because I was like, oh my gosh, these Flames of War models have a ton of detail on them. And the tanks, they were either resin or metal at the time. Plastic tanks in 15mm really wasn't a thing. Not until, I don't know, the 90s, maybe? Maybe the 2000s? Might have been the 2000s, actually. Um, but once the plastic models started coming out, the detail on the tanks just made a big jump as well. So it was like a renaissance for me. I was going through all these model kits and uh, Flames of War uh, models to play Command Decision. And then I actually got away from Command Decision and went to a game called Spearhead. I actually liked the mechanics of Spearhead a lot better than Command Decision. Uh, Even though I played a ton of Command Decision, but that was pretty much because that's what we had, and we played a ton of it in 72nd. I even had a bunch of GeoHex, if you remember that. Um, GeoHex was kind of like sponsored by the Command Decision scenarios because they were all written with GeoHex in mind. And I had a person I knew at my local gaming club that had the entire set of GeoHex. And he said, I'll sell it all to you for a few $100s. I don't remember what it was. But it was a steal because he had thousands of dollars worth of it. And I said, hell yeah, I'll buy it off you. Because I need it for my Command Decision game. And I bought it and I put it to good use. And I no longer own it myself. I've sold it as well. Well, for one thing, I don't play Command Decision anymore. And I don't play in 1/72 anymore. I'm pretty much playing 15mm exclusively. Okay, I don't know how we got on this conversation, but that wasn't the intent, guys. The intent was for me to discuss my dilemma, and once I get these guys based, if there's time, I'd like to show you the British Army lists and kind of work through in my head how I want to base these Canadians once I get these platoons in. Oh yeah, companies, because I ordered 2 companies of late war British infantry. And that's another thing. Remember, Flames of War is what I've kind of what's the word? Discovered? I kind of realize that this company is a great company. Are there models maybe a little bit higher priced? Maybe. I mean, you could say that a company from Flames of War is probably a little bit more expensive than a company from like Plastic Soldier. Plastic Soldier Company will get you a company of Grenadiers, right? For what? $30, $40, something like that. I don't know. Maybe even less. I'll have to look. But maybe it's $25. But it's lower. It's lower than the company of Grenadiers from Flames of War. Flames of War, it's like $65 for a company of Grenadiers, something like that. But then I compare what you actually get. You know, you're paying more, but are you getting more? And the answer is yes. Are the plastics, excuse me, I got a little hiccup. The Plastic Soldier guys look good. They are in different poses than your Flames of War guys. I think it's good to have both. You know, get a company of Grenadiers from Plastic Soldier, get a company of Grenadiers from Flames of War, and then mix and match. But this is what I've come to the conclusion of. And I kind of came to this conclusion because I do these what's in the box videos. Not only are these what's in the box videos for you, the audience, but they're also for me, so I can learn what actually is in the box. Is it a good deal? Okay, so just looking at the Grenadiers from Flames of War, you get bases to mount your figures. You get odds and ends like mortars and machine guns and stuff like that. And Plastic Soldier sells a separate box for heavy weapons like machine guns and mortars. So the quality of the models are very close I don't know how I want to word this. And the plastic soldier company's models are closer to reality, like they're more of an accurate scale. Um, but I don't want that. I want my model to be a little chunky. I want him to be a little bit bulky. Why? Because he's a freaking 15 millimeter miniature figure that is so hard to see with the naked eye. Anyway, I don't want him to be so accurate, and this is the case with the Americans specifically in Plastic Soldier. They are so accurate to scale that I have to put on my magnifying glasses to tell if the guy's carrying a rifle or a BAR, right? And it's like, oh my gosh, that thing is so small. It's accurate to the scale of the figure, but that's not what I want. I want to be able to see it from halfway across the table that that squad coming at me has an MG42 in their hands. So, and because it's an accurate scale, when I say accurate, I mean thin, they become not brittle, but they are easier to break because the rifles are just little bitty puny pieces of plastic, where the Flames of War guys are kind of chunky. And recently, Flames of War has kind of gradually started to move towards this soft ABS plastic, which makes them even more durable. And it also kind of makes them a little bit more chunky. And they're easier to work with because the old metal models, you know, they had flash, you had the base, you had to work on the base to get it to lay flat. You know, you had to get out your file. You know, you got to worry about the mold lines. You don't have that really on the plastics. You do have some mold lines, but it just scrapes right off. And they just look better. So I really like the Flames of War models. I know, I'm a Flames of War fanboy. But I just don't like the rules. I really want to like the Flames of War rules. It crosses my mind uh, every few days. I'm like, you know, why don't I just sit down and play a game of Flames of War? And then I come to my senses and I say, whoop, no, what am I thinking? No, I'm not going to do that. uh, Flames of War, and this is just personal opinion. This is not, I don't know if this is fact or not. I'm just making an assumption. But from what I can tell, Flames of War is designed as a tournament game. I don't mind games with point values. Those are actually beneficial when you're trying to design a scenario. You can use the points as a guide to help you determine if two forces are similarly or not similarly weighted. Or you can look at a point value of a tank and say, oh, okay, I can see where this tank would be more valuable than this other tank, or whatever. But when it becomes all important, when it becomes that's the only way you can actually play the game, It's not. I mean, they have campaigns and they do have scenarios and stuff, but that's not what the game was designed for. The game was designed for, and this is my personal opinion, was a tournament style game. What I mean by tournament style, what I'm talking about, you and your buddy both have an army where you use an army list, you spend points, you take it to the club, and you say, "Hey Joe, would you like to play a game of Flames of War? I brought my SS force. What do you got? Oh, I've got these Japanese. Okay, let's put them on the table and see what would have happened." No, I don't want to play a game like that. I would not have any fun, mainly because that guy that's playing the SS is going to show up with nothing but Tiger tanks. I encountered that playing some other games that were point valued, like Warhammer or Warhammer Fantasy. The players didn't care what their army looked like. They just picked the most powerful thing that they can put in their army so that they could beat their opponent. And that um, there's a quality to that. But that's just not what to me that's not World War II. That's some kind of fantasy, universe. But if there's a guy, one of the players or one of the guys in the club says, "Hey, I looked up this battle. That was these SS guys were taking on these Canadians near Caen, and there was this town there that they fought over. And I did my research, and I found that there was a platoon of Panther tanks, and there were some, Fireflies, and this Cromwell came in like an hour later, and the guy was an ace, and he like totally destroyed. And the guy's like telling you actual history, like what actually happened, and says something like, "Oh, and I wrote this scenario. Let's I put a couple of forces together that where we can recreate this battle." That's what I would want to do. And Flames of War could be used to do that. Okay, so it's not just point values that I don't like, because you can ignore the point values, you can make scenarios, you could play the game based on history, you don't have to go with point values. But another thing that lends towards the tournament style is that you're playing on a 4x6 table, which is fine. You're sitting on the long edge of the table. Don't have to be. You can be on opposite ends, the short ends, or you could be on the long ends. And your weapons only have a 12-inch range. And I'm looking at a 15mm figure, and I'm trying to decide, okay, if that is 6 feet, 12 inches is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, like 20 times 6 feet. So what is that? 120 feet? So 12 inches is 120 feet in 15 millimeter. Approximately. Did I do my math right? 20 times 6? 120, yep. So my cannon only shoots 120 feet. Or my heavy machine gun. Now I might be exaggerating some of this, but like mortars and stuff like that, artillery, and they have like super short range, maybe 24 inches on some weapons. Is it 240 feet? Now, I can imagine like you would. That's a 1-to-1, and not all games play it 1-to-1, so I kind of get that. But imagine it's a 2-to-1, right? That's still only 240 feet that your rifles are shooting. And I did say feet, not yards. That's less than 100 yards or meters. So I personally think the ranges are way off. But it's designed that way to make it competitive at the table. I got a couple of terrain pieces. I put them down. You got a couple of terrain pieces. You put them down. We both have objectives. We put those down. This reminds me of like Field of Glory or any of these like tournament like DBM or any of those kind of games where you're in a club and everybody's got their army that they've built specifically because of the points. And that's not fun. For me it's not anyway. For other people, that's fun. I could make a Flames War game fun, you know, but that's just extra work. Why not play a game that's already fun? Okay, so we got the grass on all these figures, right? Okay, good deal. With a minimal amount of BSery. That's not true. I blabbered quite a bit. I'm surprised you guys are still here. If you want to chat, you're welcome to. I will reply to any comments that you might have, or if you're at work or something like that and you're just watching, you don't have an opportunity to chat or anything, that is perfectly fine as well. I will try to do my best to keep you company. And it says Flames of War. I have an order of Flames of War coming in. Okay, probably tomorrow. Because usually I get these pop-ups a day before they come in. Because whenever I put an order in, I put them on the calendar in Windows. And usually I'll put them on the calendar in an anticipated delivery date. But then when I get an actual delivery date, like a tracking number or something like that, then I'll go into the calendar and I'll move it around. I'll adjust it. And this one said Flames of War on the 5th, not the 5th. 5/5 is when I ordered it. Okay. So it's probably going to, let me pull my calendar up. Where is it? There it is. No, wait. Yeah, I've got an anticipated Forged in Battle order coming in today. An anticipated Wargames Atlantic order coming in today, which the Wargames Atlantic order is not going to come in because they never sent me a tracking number. It's still on hold. I put this down because this is a month after I ordered it, because it's more of a reminder for me to send them an email to get an update, because I knew it was on back order. I didn't think it was going to take a month because it said it was going to come in this month. So I don't know. I ordered a 28mm because that's Wargames Atlantic. It's all 28mm. I ordered their World War II bundle for retailers so that I will get a it's like 2 of everything for their World War II line, and their British Sentries are were on back order. I believe that Wargames Atlantic provides the miniatures for the game O Dark 30 or Zero. O Dark 30 is the name of the movie. 00 hour, like 00 hour, I think. What it is, it's a man-to-man game where you play a commando squad, and the Germans play like a compound security team, like the guards or the sentries. And your commando team has objectives like plant bombs or rescue a prisoner or something like that. And they've got little like German Shepherd models for walking the perimeter, and they've got little towers for like guard posts or whatever, and spotlights, and you got commandos or SAS that, and they're all in 28mm, and they could be used for any game. And I don't know the mechanics of this game at all, but it sounds like a fun game, you know. But the problem with that game, and I always look for the problem, and I apologize for that. That's kind of a dick of me, but I look at a game and I say, that's going to be a fun game. And then my next question is, how many times can I play that game and have fun? To me, the answer is about 2 or 3 times, and then I'll be done. Because how many times can you raid a compound? Yeah, you can make it a prison, you can make it a train station you got to blow up, or you can make it anything where but it's the same story. Commandos sneak in using the stealth mechanics. They use their perception mechanics or whatever it is. You try to get in, you try to get out. Okay, that's fun. Switch sides. I'll play the sentries, you play the commandos. We play. That's fun. We try to switch it up. We make it a hostage situation or whatever. We play a couple of times. That's fun. And then I am done. I'll put it away, put it on the shelf, and I'll never touch it again. So, am I going to buy that game? No. But will I buy the miniatures? Absolutely yes. And so I ordered the World War II bundle, which includes the miniatures from that game, which is really, really cool in my opinion. So it didn't force me to buy the game. I can just buy the miniatures. I mean, it still comes with a Panzer Lehr and the French infantry. No, Italian infantry, French resistance, Panzer Germans, and then the German sentries and the British commandos. I think that's it. But like 2 or 3 boxes of each. So they held the whole thing for the British commandos. Okay, so that's the Wargames Atlantic. Now, Forged in Battle, that order, I'm not going to say I regret that order, because Forged in Battle has awesome models. But a couple of the models that I ordered, I didn't need to order because I already had them and I didn't realize it. So I duplicated my order. Mainly the 3-inch anti-tank guns. 76. Now, is the 17 pounder, does it look anything like the 3-inch? Because if it does, I can just use them as 17 pounders, just change out the British crew. Yeah, I don't think so. I think there's an actual distinction between the two. And I'm not using the 17, I'm not getting the 17 pounder / 25 pounder, because the British had this one 17 pounder that was on the 25 pounder carriage. Right? Okay, I should have another box. It's right here. Okay, we're going for cleanup. Clean the base bottom. Tap the bases. Get in the flock to naturally separate from the glue. And then I changed my glasses because I changed it to my reading glasses. Now we're going to my modeling glasses. Okay, there we go. I'm trying to determine okay, I'm just knocking the excess flock off, but this is only the first step of these figures of basing them. Oh man, these figures. I did a good job on these. Toot my own horn. They look really good. But I'm going to add some foliage, not just grass, some like little bushes. There are these like army painter peel and stick bushes. They work really good on sporadically on figures. You know, maybe 1 or 2 on a figure base, but they work even better on large models. But on these smaller 15mm or even 6mm like micro armor, I wouldn't use them. I would use clump foliage, and I will show you. Yeah, okay. British. I think I'm gonna work on assembling the British that I do have. I'm gonna commit to it. I'm gonna build the carriers, the half tracks, and the Bofors, and the anti-tank guns. The 6 pounders, because I don't have the 17 pounder in yet. I think I've got 17 pounders coming in with my Forged in Battle. So if I get those in, I'll include that in my assembly. And oh yeah, I got Vickers machine guns. I'm going to assemble them as well. Now the Vickers I could paint the Bofors I probably shouldn't, because it's probably supposed to have that olive drab number 15 as the metal, gun shield and carriage and barrel probably. There's a paint right there that I just got as well. It's hidden, you can't really see it. This is I over the last couple of weeks I've really been I've been doing a lot of thinking lately. I don't know, what is it? Is it the weather changing? But no, I've been thinking about rethinking how I do my tank tracks, right? Because in the past, maybe the last year or two, I've been using this really dark boiler black. I don't know if I have it up here. Yeah, it's the furthest one. It just have to be. Okay. I've been using this like super dark boiler black paint for all my tracks. And I've come to the realization that I'm doing myself a disservice by not being a little bit more accurate. I mean, I'm so anal about uniforms that and the whole paint scheme, right? So why would I not be anal about the track color, right? And so I ordered this, which is a track primer. It's really just it's kind of a super dark brown, kind of like a chocolate, but more like a dark brown. Let me see if I have something that's even close. Yeah, like this oak brown. But it's a primer, and I can get this big gigantic bottle for the cost of 2 of these, right? If this is like $3.50, this was like $7, something like that, maybe 10. It's a little more liquidy, and it's a polymer. It's a waterborne polymer. Acrylic for brushes and airbrush. Yeah, so it's a polymer, but I think acrylics are polymers too, so whatever. But so I plan to prime tracks with that. And then I looked and I saw that Germans and British should probably base coat them brown, right? And I've been thinking, are the tracks metal? Are they rusty? Are they dirty? Are they rubber? What are the tracks? And yes, different nations have different types of tracks. So I can't believe this. It's taken me this many years to really crack down on my track painting skills. But basically, I've decided that that's my new project, my own personal learning project, is to paint tracks more accurately going forward. So So I'm looking, that's another reason why I'm kind of looking forward to doing the M5, or, you know, the half tracks, the carriers, the Fireflies. Yeah. I already have a bunch of Shermans. I got like 10 of them done. And believe it or not, in the massive battle that I talk about, there's one battle, it's like, it's in the Battle of the Bulge, I think. It's a British versus German massive battle. I think there are 17 Shermans and 17? Yeah, 17 Shermans and 4 Fireflies. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's a lot of Shermans. But then again, don't forget there are 3 companies of infantry. That battle is just ludicrously large. But I have 10 Shermans already. I just have no Fireflies. So I ordered the British Starter Army, which comes with 1 platoon of, look at that, wood. 1 platoon British infantry, but it also comes with like 5 Shermans. And it says, on the packaging, it says 4 Shermans and 1 Firefly. Okay, so I dug a little deeper and I looked at the sprues that is included in that box. I am definitely going to do a what's in the box to show you guys this. But just because the package, and this is another reason why I love Flames of War. Just because the package says there's only 1 Firefly does not make it true. So I looked at the Sherman sprue, and they give you 5 Sherman sprues, right? Because it claims to have 4 Shermans and 1 Firefly. Well, it gives you 5 Sherman sprues, and they all could be Fireflies. They have the Firefly turret, they have the hull, the gun, everything. So they're basically Sherman Mark 5s, if you're familiar with that. And not the 3s, they're Mark 5s. And which is the late war British Sherman. But as you know, I use magnets on my turrets. And I can build both a regular British Sherman turret and a Firefly turret. And I can switch them out. I could put the Firefly turret on when I need a Firefly, and I can put the Sherman 75 turret when I need a regular Sherman. And so I'll have all the Fireflies I need because I have 5 other Shermans, or maybe it's 4 or 5 other Shermans. Oh, is that going to be enough? Hang on. 17? I think it's 17. I got 12. I got 10. And if I get 5 more, that'd be 15. See, I'll only have 16. Man, I'll be short by 1 Sherman. But that's all right. I'll live with it. A lot of freaking Shermans. But I already have 10 American Shermans painted up. Any Shermans I build going forward are going to be British. And then if we ever play a scenario where I need like 17 Shermans, well, we'll have to intermix the Americans and the British. We'll just have to cry about it. Yeah, I've got a bunch of 76 Shermans on magnets as well. So if I ever need any just 76 Shermans, I could swap those out. Okay, these guys are knocked out. These are the last ones. And then we go to clump foliage. Look at that Flames War base. That's the old gray flat. I still have a handful of these gray ones. But since these are all Plastic Soldier Company, I'm not sure why I put them on this base. Oh, because it's a loader base, and I was gonna be putting all these boxes on it and storage and stuff like that, ammo boxes. So I figured, why not just use a gray base? These don't even have copyright or anything on the bottom, so these are like first edition. Back in the day. I found a company that sells limbers, horse limbers, German World War II horse limbers. Can you believe it? I ordered 2 of them. I think the company is Battle Honors. It's kind of a Old Glory spin-off. I think Old Glory actually owns Battle Honors nowadays. Oh, this is what I was getting at. Okay, yeah, something I remember. I looked at these anti-tank guns, and it reminded me. Okay, so I ordered these British companies, right? But I need 7 platoons, not just 4 or 6 or however many. I think they come with 3 each. But the 3 platoons that come in a Flames of War box are not the same as the 3 platoons of Battlegroup. Okay, this doesn't go anywhere. Okay. There's going to be figures that I can't use in Battlegroup because maybe there's too many flamethrowers or something like that on the sprue, or maybe there's too many submachine guns on the sprue or something like that. Wait, there's only 2 trays? I must have consolidated them or something very well. Okay. Okay, so we got all that knocked out. So, counting the figures, that's another reason why I wanted to bring the spreadsheet up. And, oh, these are the wrong glasses. I put on my magnifying glass. Come on. Reading glass. Come on, Derek. What are you doing? Okay, we don't have that much time. So, I will hurry to do some of these bases just so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, we won't need that. Okay, so I've got 3 trays of clump foliage here. They are different colors, or at least 2 of them are different colors. This looks like it's olive drab. Okay, I'm gonna have to take a close look at this. I don't know if you can see that on camera, but they are different colors. This is a lighter color, this is a darker color. And that's exactly, it's almost not worth bothering, you know, because it's not like red and green, you know. Okay, now I'm starting to, that's a different color as well. Dang. So I have 3 tubs because there's actually 3 colors? No. You're bullshitting. Okay. I didn't think there was 3 colors. But you know what? We're going to work with it. Because I'm anal. I'm Mr. Anal. Okay, so let's take these figures. I'm going to be working with this one. I don't want it overhanging my table because this is starting to worry me that I might drop it on the floor. Okay, that works. That'll go there. This works. That can go there. Okay. This is just a little highlighted note. After using this field gray from Tamiya, this tanker field gray, no, I'm stalling, right? Not really, I'm letting glue dry. Where you be? Maybe under gray. Okay, I've used this AK field gray. I used this War Paints field gray. I've used this Warlords German Army field gray. Where you at? Where you at? There's one more. I know there's one more. That's field blue, uniform gray, Russian uniform. That's close. No, okay. And this model color field gray. Oh my gosh, I've used a ton of field gray, right? This Tamiya field gray is the best. This is the best field. That's the field gray that's on these models. This AK runs a close second. This tanker field gray is more dirty, so if you wanted to have like a little bit, kind of a little brown in your field gray, that's good. This war paints field gray is really just gray. It's just gray. It's not even field gray. It's just gray. And this model color and this army field gray, they dry the same color. These are actually, this is probably, I don't know, it's probably army painter. These are okay. The model color ones are okay. The AK one is pretty darn good. It's if I gave this a 10, I would give this an 8. Not a 10, not a 9, an 8. And then I would give these guys 7s. And I'd give this a 1. That's kind of like the crappy color. Okay, I just had to put that out there. I just had to vent a little bit. Sorry. Sorry. All right, here we go. Now, I had used in the past tacky glue, but tacky glue's kind of like unnecessary. It was nice and all. I don't know, but what I'll do is I'll go on the base and I'll put it like where the grass and the dirt meet. So I'm actually putting it on the dirt, and you notice I just put like a little drop. And then I feel around in this clump foliage for a clump. Like there's a good sized clump. And I'll kind of move it around in the glue so that it kind of sticks to itself and the glue and the base. And then I will push down on it a little bit so that the glue kind of seeps in to the foliage. And you get kind of a I don't remember which color did I just grab. This, right? Okay. Going to do another one, but it's going to be this color. And it doesn't have to be the same size. It could be smaller, it could be larger. It could be a weird shape. I go in and I kind of push and move it around and get glue all over the clump so that whatever it rests on, it'll stick to. Go with one of these bad boys. They do make clump like this is shredded. I don't remember exactly what the packaging said, but they do make clump foliages in different coarseness, of course. I don't know if that makes sense. Okay, grab another one of these. I think this is just a little bit newer, So it's going to have a lot more of the bigger pieces in it. Now, because this is a gun crew, I'm not putting any clump foliage down inside between the legs of the gun. But you don't want the clump foliage just making a wall around the base either. So like this piece, I angled it a little bit so that it is looks natural. Oh, I think I saw a good piece. Nope. Okay. I wanted to go with one of these colors. Oh. Lost it. Saw a nice big chunk. Yeah, it works. Again, I move it around in the glue so that it kind of coats the clump foliage is actually made out of sponge, so it will soak up the glue a little bit and it'll stiffen up the clump foliage a little bit, not a lot. It'll still be soft on the top. I think I might be satisfied with that. I might be satisfied with that. Okay, let me adjust the focus on my camera. I'm going to put it on autofocus. I hate doing that, but I'm going to put it on autofocus and see if it'll let me. If I can find it. There we go. Autofocus. Auto apply. Okay. Let's see if the autofocus works. Yeah, you can still see the how the glue hasn't dried yet. It's still white, right? But that's the base, right? You got a bunch of okay, let's go level. Bunch of bushes. If I wanted to, I could have put rocks. I probably should have put some rocks on there too. But that's okay. I like it being clean like that. What do you guys think of the P dot? You really can't see it because the focus it's autofocus, so you're not getting a very good autofocus. Okay. One. Sorry. Okay. Let me pull one of these smaller anti-tank guns, the 50s. Not 50 caliber. I say that all the time. Oh, change. Man, I got glasses change. I need those glasses that you can just turn the lenses. That's what I need. I need a pair of those. Okay, this is going to be 2 pieces of clump foliage. So I'm going to put a lot of glue on there because I can foresee it being a lot. Oh, wait, what? No, okay. Yeah, when I look at the clump foliage, I'm trying to visualize, is that a bush? Or is that a piece of foam? If it's a bush, I'm going to put it on the base. If it's a piece of foam, I throw it back into the tub of hell. Okay, that's perfect. That's a perfect one. Okay. So got a little odd coloring, right? Just so you can, let me push this into the glue so that it kind of soaks in a little bit. I'm not done with this one, but I just wanted to show you a little bit of, come on, focus, a little bit of the two-tone. Okay. Oh, behind the wheel over here looks like a good spot. Ooh. Ooh. Yes. Crap. It was a good piece and I dropped it. Okay. It was definitely a bush. And some can be taller than others. They all don't have to be exactly the same size. I'm going to put this one in the middle, in the back. Why? Because I'm feeling crazy. It's like they're working on this anti-tank gun around this bush. Okay, I think I'm satisfied with this one. Right? So we got a bush in the back. I don't know. Clump foliage does something to these 15mm models, I'm telling you. They just make them pop. Okay. Machine gun. Well, in my mind, I make each one a little vignette, right? So, in my mind, this gunner would have deployed behind a bush. So I'm going to put a bush just off to the side of the machine gun. Okay, I hear the mailman, or mail lady actually. We got a new mail person. And I'm going to put a bush on the other side of this gun. Okay. You know, kind of like that, except it's going to, I'm going to keep going. I'm not stopping right there. But see how I got a bush on each side and he's firing in between them? Now you can put Elmers directly on the static grass if you feel like you need to do a bush, you know, not on dirt. If you want it to be growing up out of the grass, you definitely can do that. Hey, it's your base. You can do whatever you want with it. Your models. Okay, and you don't want to do too many. I found that too many makes the model look like a bush. It doesn't look like a bunch of infantry. But on a base like this that only has 3 figures, you want to fill the base out with a little bit extra life, right? So I got that many bushes. Not too many. It's not completely packed with bushes. You can still tell that it's a machine gun, you know, crew. Okay, let's look at the FO, right? 2 figures, small base. Oh, I didn't put the other glue on there. Dang it. This one only has 2, but one of them is kind of gigantic, so. Easy as a peasy. Uh, Panzer Shrek. Okay, that looks good. And again, on these little bases, I like to probably only use about 2 bushes. All right, well, we didn't get a chance to go over my army lists. They're not my army lists. I should say the army lists. But what my discussion was going to be was a 10-man squad of British troops. Okay, the Canadians have 10-man squads, and they have something called the special rule is called Bren gun. So one of the 10 guys is carrying a Bren gun, but the Bren gun rule is if you have a Bren gun in the squad, you can drop a Bren gun team behind. You can leave them behind as a fire support element. And I'm thinking I'm going to make a Bren team 2 men, right? A 2-man team. Because the Bren gun, I don't think that's something I should probably look. Okay, the glue makes that look horrible, but once the glue dries, that's going to disappear. And there's a bush. I'm going to add one more bush. I just don't like it. Just makes me feel crazy. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So I'll finish these later off camera. But what I'm going to do is just real quick, I'm going to look without really... Here, let me adjust this camera. I was planning on disconnecting this camera and working with a spreadsheet on camera so that you could see what was going on. I still could do that. Close that. World War II project. Canada's Crucible. See, there should be rules too. I think I've got a PDF of the rules. Okay, got them open. Canada's Crucibles. Okay, let's get rid of the Brio. Go to a center display. That should work. Okay. Boop, boop. There we go. That looks good. All right. Maybe you'll learn something. Maybe I'll learn something. So I'm in the Battlegroup rules. I probably could go 150 on that. Okay. And I'm going to find special rules. Okay, I think I need to... 200, there we go. Orders, disembark, that's not even close. Movement, over, infantry weapons, here we go. That's the Germans, light machine guns. Light machine guns. It's the British Bren, US BAR, and the Russian DP, or the record player. Okay. Yeah, all light machine guns have a rate of fire of 2, okay, and a maximum range of 30 inches. Okay. A rate of fire of 2 is only one better than a rifle, right? So, but it doesn't say as a minimum crew, right? It just says, like, the machine guns says it requires at least 2 men, right? The MG34 or the 42 say a crew of 2 to fire at full effect. Okay, so I'm hearing a tinging sound, and I don't know why I would be here. Oh, it's probably bouncing off my tin. Okay, so yeah, it doesn't say it has. So does that mean I can drop one person off? Okay, so let's go to the special rules. Because the Brengun team, or I should say the British squads, have a special rule called Bren teams. British infantry section A British infantry section may detach its Bren gun team from the main body of the squad to operate independently. Okay, it could be. What I'm trying to determine is it more than one person? When a British section is given an order, simply declare that the Bren team is being detached. It now becomes a separate unit of 3 men. Okay, it does say specifically right there, 3 men. Dang. That's the problem. Okay, so let's go to Canada's Crucible. Go to the Canadian Army list. Come on, there we are. Canadian 3rd Infantry Division. And next page, boom, infantry units. This is what I'll be working with mostly. And we'll be looking at these platoon commands primarily. And it says 10 men with a Bren, and they have the special rule, Bren team. Okay. So 3 of the men are automatically going to go on a single base, and they will be the Bren team. And what that means is there's going to be 7 other men in the squad. 7 other men in the squad. And the platoon command's an odd number too. It's 5. Okay, well, that's no problem. I've got 5-figure bases that I can just make a 5-figure base and say that is the command section. I can even give them a Piat or something, right? It says Piat right here. I can give them a Piat. Or I can give the platoon a Piat team, because no more than once. So I could give them I can make a bunch of Piat teams. That's no problem. And I can throw a Piat in the command section, which I probably would never do. But you can. But the problem is I'm going to have 7 men left. And I could do a 4-man. I could do a 4-man base and 2 3-man bases. And then make one of those 3-man bases a Bren team. Okay. I think I've just by working it out in my head with you guys, I pretty much solved what I'm going to do with my British. I didn't know it had to be 3 men. I suspected it was going to be 3 men. And all the British squads have that ability. I mean, you can see down here the rifle section. It has Bren team. If I go, where's reconnaissance? Reconnaissance, foot patrol, special rule, Bren team. 10 men with a Bren. Carrier team, 3 men with a Bren. 3 men with a Bren. Okay, so I'm just going to make a bunch of 3-man Bren teams. Because those could be carrier teams as well. Okay. The mail person has stopped. Let me go see what's going on. I'll be right back. Okay, not today. Junk mail. Well, it's free food, but it was still junk mail. Okay, so we figured it out together that when I base my British, I'm going to be basing them with 3-man Bren teams and the 7 other guys. There's going to be a 4-man main body is going to be 4, and then 2 3s. Cause see, I was wondering if I was going to do like a 5 and then a 3 and then a 2 or something like that. But I'm not going to do a 5 3 and a 2. I'll just do a 4 and 2 3s. And you can see this rifle team down here is all individually based. But I'm not doing that because if I play a big battle with 300 figures on a side, it would take forever to move all that. Okay. Now the carrier Piat shows that it's got a 3-man with a Piat. Okay. 3 men with a 2-inch mortar, which is odd because normally a 2-inch mortar is only 2 men. Yeah, but every platoon here shows that it's going to have that 5-man leadership. 30 men with a Bren, with 3 Bren. So 35, and then 2 more. So 37. 37 is a platoon. And I think, let's check this out. I'm not going to worry about the British Armored Battlegroup, even though I have one of those coming in. That's loading. Loading. Try it again. Okay. Then I go here, I go British company. Did I spell that right? Looks like I spelled it right. I didn't capitalize it. This website has the slowest search function ever. Just FYI. This is the official Flames of War website. Okay. See how long it took? Okay. BEF company. World War III. Okay, that's horrible. Maybe I should have put United Kingdom, but no, it says British. Parachute company. Rifle company. This is what I got. I got 2 of these. That doesn't look like a company to me. Does it look like, okay, maybe 2 platoons? Possibly, right? For 50 bucks? Okay. But let's see how many figures it says you get. 20 infantry teams. Okay, that's all these, every base here is called, oh, here we go. This will be better. You can make a rifle company, a motor company, or a commando troop. A headquarters company and 2 platoons. So let's not, let's just count figures, right? So there might be more figures than what they give you bases for. I believe that each platoon has 2 sprues, and then they have a 3rd sprue for headquarters or something like this. This is the sprue. I believe that they're, say it's headquarters and 2 platoons. Yeah, I think each platoon gives you 2 of these. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. So that's 48 per platoon, which is more than enough, right? Because I need 37. So that's if I can arrange to have them properly put in there. I think each one of these sprues has 2 Bren guns, if I remember right. I'm going off memory. I think this guy here is a Bren gun. And I think this guy right here is a Bren gun. So you're gonna get 4 Bren guns per platoon that they count, because I think they give you 4 sprues. So I'll have enough Bren guns for 8 squads. Right. There's 2 per sprue. There, yeah, 8 squads. That's almost 3 platoons. So I might actually, out of 1 box, I might be able to do 3 platoons. I might not. It might be like 2.5 or something like that. But since I got 2 boxes, I should be able to at least do 5 platoons, I think. We'll see. When I get it in, I'll have to piece it out and actually figure it out. Yeah, it gives you all the cards for Flames of War, which I don't use. But I think that's the 2-inch mortar, the 2-man team. That's exactly what I'm going to need, but I bet you get 4 of these figures, because you probably get, like I said, 4 sprues, and there's probably 1 of those on each sprue. So that's too many. That's four figures right there that I'm already losing. And so I'm gonna have 4 a bunch of Piats, right? And there's a Bren gun. Yeah, that guy looks like he's got a radio. That's gonna be awesome. I can make FO stands. Yeah, I'm excited. All right, guys. Well, thanks for coming out and watching this lunacy. I have a lot of bases that I need to put some foliage on, and as soon as I get done with that, I'll probably start working on putting together what British I currently have. All right, I'll let you go. You guys have a good day.